Hello everyone and welcome to day 4 of the PTC Creo workshop. My name is Justin Kanrick with the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics at the University of Central Florida. So if you made it to day 4, I assume you've watched the first 3 days. First day was basic sketching, how to make lines, shapes. Second day we went into basic modeling. I showed you how to make extrude cuts, with your blends, sweeps, swept blends. Day 3, you went and learned how to make an assembly. You also got to work with a incorrectly designed assembly, something that you'll often find in the field, and you were able to go back and forth and kind of figure out how to move between parts and understand how to fix it. Day 4 is something I find very special, and partially the reason why I decided to do all these videos. And this has to do with engineering drawings. So I mentioned it in the first video, I believe, but I have had 2 years experience with Lockheed Martin under the Lockheed Martin CWEP program, College Work Experience program here at UCF. A very great program. I had an opportunity to learn quite a bit about the industry. I worked 1 year with manufacturing design, so working on the production line, figuring out production plans, and I've been now a year with mechanical design. So I've worked on everything from simple notices of revision, that's where you're changing a drawing, to even creating my own designs, having fixtures designed and built for the production line. So what we're going to cover here today is how to create an engineering drawing, and I'm very well sure that you do not learn how to create a drawing in SOLIDWORKS class. They teach you how to model, which is great. You do the video animations, but they don't teach you how to do drawings. And it's really important, especially if you're applying for a mechanical design or an aero design position. You'll notice when you go on the websites, a lot of them do ask for an understanding of how to create engineering drawings, and also something called geometric dimensioning and tolerancing. I'll go through that in a second. So set the engineering drawings per ASME Y145M, that's the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, and it's an update of ANSI, which is the older standards, and basically sets the premise for how you dimension a drawing, how you create views and properly dimension them. It's a standard that we all follow to make sure we keep consistency throughout our parts. So we'll show you how to dimension. After that, we'll show you how to create things like projection views, detail views, cross-section views. I'll give you everything you'll need to get started and be able to create drawings and show all of your dimensions sufficiently. And I've created an assembly for you, which we'll go through in a second. I'll show you where to find that you can we're going to be using for this assignment. Finally, we'll go through GD&T, that's geometric dimensioning and tolerancing, and how you apply it to a drawing. Now, I've taken a 2-semester class with Lockheed, so they actually offer a class that you could go to, and they teach you about first the geometric dimensioning part, and then they teach you how to do a stack up of individual components in an assembly using it. So there's nothing that I expect you to become an expert from, but I'm hoping it'll kind of open your eyes to how you're able to use it on a drawing. And the premise behind it is kind of like this. So you imagine you have a square aluminum plate, call it 1/2 inch thick, 3 by 3, and you want to make a hole right in the center. So you dimension that hole probably from the sides of the part. So you come in 1.5 inches from the left, 1.5 inches from the bottom, put your drill hole right there. Well, there's one problem. There's really no way to ensure that when they drill that hole, it's going to be exactly to the atom right where you placed it. And because of this, we have tolerancing on drawings. So if you've ever taken a class on machine design, they go through this a little bit. You can apply plus minus dimensioning on there. So you can imagine that if it's a very precise part, and of course here in the United States we're using English units, so inches, we could say that we'd like to dimension from either wall, so 1.5 plus minus 5/1000ths of an inch. So that would be 1.5 plus 0.005 inches. You could move 0.005 to the left or to the right. and then up or down from the point, and you'd still technically be within your tolerance. Now, there's a little bit of trouble with this system because even though you kind of apply a plus minus 5, meaning it can move to the left 5, but you can also move up 5 from there. So you can imagine if you were to actually measure the distance, if you were to the left 5 and up 5, you would have to do the triangle, if you could think of it as you go to the left up. It's a 45, 90 triangle. So you have to do 5 squared plus 5 squared, take the root. So you'd actually find it's a larger value than what you're expecting in terms of your distance from your ideal point. So another thing which they use in the industry is the geometric dimensioning tolerancing, where you can apply something like a position tolerance, where basically I can set a position tolerance of 10 thousandths of an inch. And what this does is you're basically drawing a circle of diameter 10 thousandths, 0.010, around that point. And as long as the center of the hole lies within there, it follows the tolerances you find you're drawing, and it's acceptable. There's other things you can apply as well. They have something called perpendicularity. With this, you can, let's say, have a flat surface, and maybe you drill a hole through the top of it. So the hole would be normal to the surface. I could define the surface as something called a datum. I can tell you about that later. It's basically a reference. And I can say that hole through that surface has to be within a certain angle. So if I give it 5 thousandths, that means there's a 5 thousandth zone which the center line of that hole needs to be in. And don't worry about trying to understand this stuff right now. There's resources out there that'll help you with it. It's taking me quite a while to get to it. I just want to give you an idea of kind of what we're kind of talking about when we say GD&T. So let's go ahead and I'll show you some resources now on the internet that are pretty useful that I found. Obviously, we have our own drafting standards at Lockheed, so this is kind of just a similar standard. It's probably exactly the same. In reality, it looks pretty similar. So what you're looking at here is ASME Y14.5, dimensioning and tolerancing. I'll go ahead and give you this link, or maybe I'll just put the file on there for you so you can get to it. And as you scroll down through this, you're first going to get a whole bunch of descriptions. So it's going to tell you, when I say something, let's say a feature, it tells you exactly what you're talking about. It's any kind of physical part, a surface, tab, hole. You go down, they'll talk about tolerances and geometric tolerances. There you go, right here. And come even further down, you'll start to see they show you how to dimension parts. So it's basically a guideline that you'd use. And let's say I need to dimension a diameter. It shows you how to make the the center line, and how to apply a diameter to it. And you could go down, and it goes through a lot. This is pretty useful, and it's basically the standard for how you dimension. And this, like I said, this goes on 230 pages. You don't have to read it, but I would take a look at it and become familiar with it, just so you can know and kind of understand what you're looking at when they talk about ASME drafting standards. Another resource I found was a PowerPoint from Drexel on GD&T. And if you go down and look through this one, again, I'll give you guys access to it. It's going to go where we are. Here's explaining, plus minus tolerances, how you calculate tolerances, types of fit, which is important, and then now here it goes to the GD&T. So it'll go through everything I've talked about, your position tolerance, your perpendicularity, parallelism, symmetry, and I'll show you some of these today. So I'll let you guys work on that, not to worry. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So I have it in a folder here. You would do is you download on the internet. You go to AIAAUCF.com. Under the Workshops tab, you'll find Creo. And then under Day 4, you'll be able to select the Day 4 files. Just go ahead and download that. When you get to that, your files will look just like this. Don't disregard all this other stuff here. We're just looking at these files right here. basically I've created 5 parts for you, and I've even put them in assembly for you, which is really nice. So what we're going to do then is we'll go ahead and open the assembly. We'll start there. So go to day4.assembly and double click on that, and let that open on your computer here. Alright, so once that opens, you'll kind of see this. You go ahead and get rid of all these planes and everything coming up here, and unselect all, so you can actually see what we're looking at. So this is basically an assembly I kind of create on my own, just something to basically give you an idea of the different options and things you can work with in terms of a drawing. What we're looking at is there's this pin of sorts that kind of goes through a flat plate. It has a small washer, and this would be the threaded portion of the pin. We don't actually model the threads at Lockheed, so I'm not doing that here either. And it has some sort of screw on top that would clamp down on it. So one of the first things I'll show you, it's a pretty nifty tool. Now you see I'm trying to explain this, and it's kind of tricky because there's things hidden behind parts here. What you could do is if you come up here to View, click View, and click Section, we can actually create a section through this part, and this will actually be a very useful tool once we get started in the drawing. So I clicked Section, I came over and clicked Surface. If I come off to the side, you can see this red arrow, and it indicates which direction I'm viewing from. So I'm viewing from the top, and I can click on that arrow and drag, and as I drag, you can see I'm creating a section through the part. And you can basically leave that anywhere. This is a great tool when you're actually explaining to people what's going on. So it's kind of arbitrary. You could set a dimension here. I usually just drag until I find something nice. So let's say right here, drag yours directly here, and come up and click the check mark. So now you can get an idea of kind of what we're looking at. So I have my pin. I have 2 washers, which are represented in green. Then I have my little screw here on top. And this is what we're going to be modeling. So if you come off to the left, you can see now we have a Sections tab. And we have section 001. If we want to remove the section and go back to a full part, all you have to do is go over to Sections, left click, right click, and click Deactivate. And if you left click off somewhere on the screen, you can see we're back to square one here. And you can also delete these like you would delete features. So you come over and just right click and scroll down, find delete, and click OK. It'll remove it, and we'll be back to where we started. So something I actually did forget to do on here, so I'll have you guys do it real quick, just to, we'll kind of call it a refresher course in modeling, is we need to add 4 holes on the bottom of this plate. They're going to be for some sort of mounting in the future. We won't be modeling those in, but we'll the other part in anyways. So to add holes in the square part here, what we're going to do, scroll over to the part, right click, excuse me, so you need to left click first, left click, then right click. You can see this is where the how you click creates different options kind of comes in. And we're going to activate this. So to show you that again, I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this view. So that if you're able to get here, go over to the left, you see it says Day 4, Part 1. Right click on the assembly, right click on the assembly and click Activate. So we're going to go ahead and activate Day 4 again. You can either click here, click the part itself, or you click the part in the tree. Either way is the same. Right click, activate. And you can see everything else has been grayed out like we've done before, which verifies it's been activated. Now we have all of our modeling tools up here at the top. we're going to go ahead and click the Extrude, and we're going to extrude on this top surface. So let's go ahead and go normal to the view, and we're going to be putting 4 holes in the corner of this, and then we'll be applying a counterbore hole after. So come over to the circle, click the circle, and we're going to go ahead and place 4 holes on this. They can be arbitrary. So there's the first hole, come down. You can see it has that little relation where it has that green line behind the arrow. Let's try and hold on to that. That'll help us with dimensioning. So drag down roughly where the other hole was, left click, and drag open. You'll notice it kind of stops, and you see the R to the left of my mouse there, showing that we have a equal radius condition, which is exactly what we like to keep. So once you're there, left click. Now we're going to come over to the right, keeping that green line next to our arrow, keeping that relationship. Left click, third hole. Let's keep the radius the same, like click into place, and left click. Finally, we're going to come up. We're going to be looking for 2 green arrows, or green and blue arrow, showing we're keeping a vertical and a horizontal relationship. And they'll help us with dimensioning afterwards. You'll see why we're doing this in a second. Left click, drag out until the radius is the same. Left click. And now that we have all 4 holes, come off to the right and center click once. And now you'll see it automatically applied to all of our dimensions. So we'll go ahead and set the hole radius first. Come up here to the left, you can see we have 1 dimension, and all the other ones have an R on them, indicating they're all going to follow that dimension. Double click on it. We'll go ahead and make this a 1/2 inch hole. Now we'll go ahead and change some of these dimensions. We're going to dimension this 4 inches from the center of the object, since we already have our datums passing through the center, which is really convenient here. So let's go ahead and make everything 4. You'll notice I don't actually need 1 here because I had that vertical tolerance, so it's able to use this 4 and apply it to both holes. Kind of helps a lot when you're doing parts, and it makes sure that everything lines up and moves together if you were to change that dimension. So I'll go ahead and change this last one to 4. And you'll actually see I don't even need to dimension this one because it's already has a vertical and horizontal relationship, which is pretty nice. Alright, so once we have our dimensions in place here, we'll go ahead and click the OK button here in the top right. Remember, we're going to want to switch direction. It's automatically going to go and cut, and we're going to make this a 1 inch deep hole. So change it to 1 at the top left. Click OK. So there's our holes there. We're going to go ahead now and put a counterbore hole in this. The use of this would be if you were, let's say, installing a screw into this part, and you want the screw head to be flush with the bottom of the part here. Obviously, the screw head at this point would be sitting on this flat surface and sticking out, and a 1/2 inch screw, that could be about a 1/2 inch that it would be sticking out here. So we're going to go ahead and create a counterbore. Very similar process, but I'm going to show you a little trick here that'll help you make your models a lot faster. So go ahead, we're going to click Extrude again. We're going to click on that flat surface. Let's go normal to surface. Now, instead of clicking the circle and creating them again and dimensioning them, we're going to reference the holes that we originally had there. Now you have to be very careful about this because this can come back to hurt you if you don't do it correctly. So if you're not comfortable with it, you can go ahead and use the old way, dimension everything up front, and everything will work just fine. So the new way I want to show you is if you come up here to the left and you click reference. Now you recall we did this before when we were trying to reference a side or something we're trying to dimension from it, we'd click references. Now you can see it already has our 2 datums are right in the front. Those are the vertical and the horizontal line. What we're going to do is come off to the side and we're going to reference some of these holes. So you want to get to the hole, get it to light up green, and click on it. And you'll see now it's at that surface and giving us the center of that hole. We're going to do that on all 4 of these holes. So I'm just left clicking on each of the holes until we have all 4 holes selected, and click close. And we're going to go up and back to the sketch view. Now you'll notice I've referenced the 4 holes, and what I can do when I come to create that circle, I can click right to the center of the hole, left click and drag out, and we're going to drag this out so it roughly looks like a counterboard shape. Go ahead and set the specific diameter later, and you can see now it lines up with the first hole. So go ahead and do that for the other ones. Just make sure that you're actually grabbing that center point, drag out, make sure the radius is the same, so you have that little green R. We'll go ahead and create the other ones here. And center click once you've done that. You can see we've kept the relation. Go ahead and change that number. I don't know offhand exactly what the screw head size is, but we're going to go ahead and just pretend it's 85.85. And you look that kind of stuff up in a table somewhere. And so at this point, with these 4 referenced parts, you can see we don't actually have any dimensions on this view. You will actually need to remove those references in order to be able to have the drawing fully dimensioned properly. So what you need to do is come up here to the left again to References, click on it, and we're basically come over to the right and we're going to delete the 4 references that we had there. So click on the first reference, press the delete button, and we're going to click it 4 times. And by a delete button, I mean the actual one that says delete, not backspace. Click delete, and you'll see now we've come back to our 2 planes. And now if I hit close, you'll notice it puts all of my dimensions back in there. And if you notice, you have this one's dark, but these other ones are light. These are what we call weak dimensions. So they're not really driving, they're only just placed there by Creo as a convenience to you. So what we're going to do is left click and hold, and we're going to highlight all of those, kind of like what you do on your computer if you're trying to highlight a whole bunch of files. Once you have them in the middle of the box, let go of the left click, and we're going to right click on one of those dimensions, any one, it doesn't matter which one, right click and hold, and we're going to come up here where it says strong and release the right key. So just to give you some more practice with that, and left click off to the side. We can go ahead and set these back to weak by left clicking on one of the dimensions, right click and hold, and that's what it looks like. So you're going to have to just down click delete. So left click on the dimension, click the word delete, and that'll take it back to a weak dimension. Here you can see it's weak. To make it strong, left click, right click and hold, and go strong, and let go of the right click. And here you can change the dimension, but you're just going to click enter. And now you have your strong dimension, fully dimensioned drawing here, which is exactly what you want. Go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to cut some material out. This time it didn't automatically set to cut, so you're going to have to click cut. We're going to counterbore this to 1/2 inch. And click OK. So now you can see we actually have our counterbore holes. This would be if you were going to install some kind of screw fastener. I didn't include it here just for ease of the demonstration. So now that we have that, we'll go ahead off to the right, left click on day 4 assembly, right click and activate, and left click over the screen. Now we have our fully set assembly and we're ready to draw. Let's go ahead and save this, Control S, always saved in Creo, and if I haven't shown that to you before, I'm really bad about it, make sure you're always saving. We're going to go ahead and learn how to create the drawings now. So to create a drawing, first thing you're going to do is come up to the left, under the new, like you would be creating a part, except now, we're going to go ahead and click Drawing, and we're going to give this a name. Let's call it a Workshop. For lower dash, make sure there's no space, it doesn't like spaces. Drawing. You can call it anything you want, just don't leave any spaces there. And click OK. So at this point, it's going to ask for our template if we'd like to use one, or if we'd like to leave it blank. So things you could do from this screen. Obviously you want to leave this here. It's going to import the assembly first, which is fine. You come down to template, click browse. If you had some templates you downloaded from the internet, you could have them on your computer. This is where you select them. I don't actually have any templates on this computer, so go ahead and click cancel. I'm going to use some of the templates that are already provided in the system here. So what you'd be looking at are these templates here. You have A through F. Basically, these are different sheet sizes. They go from a standard printer paper all the way up to an F, which I think is like 30 or 40 inches by 40 inches. It's pretty huge paper. Usually in engineering, we're going to either use D or E. E would be for really large parts. D would be for smaller ones. What we have here, we're going to use the D drawing. So click the D lower dash drawing and click OK. So now what you're looking at is the drawing screen. So go ahead and just pull it all the way out here. It did automatically import the 3 views from the part, which I guess is just kind of part of Pro E. But let's go ahead and start slowly here. We're actually going to delete these so that we can start brand new. I want to show you right from the beginning. So come up to the left click, highlight those views, and click the delete button. So we're going to start nice and fresh. Alright, the first thing you want to do when you have a drawing, we need to insert drawing models. So if you remember before, we were creating the drawing, it asked for the drawing model, and we had the assembly selected by default. So if you come over to the left and we see type, you'll see it says assembly. In the model tree here, you'll also see the assembly with 4 parts. So basically the only drawing model that we have imported to this drawing is the assembly. To create any views for a model, you have to actually import the drawing model. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and import our 5 views here, or at least, not sorry, views, but parts. We're going to import the 5 parts into the drawing. So if you come up to the left here under drawing models, click that. We're going to come off to the right in the main menu, and we're going to want to add a model. So we get this screen here. It's currently defaulting my desktop. If you have the model in your Pro E window, which you already have, you can go to In Session, and now you'll see all of our models here. We're going to go ahead and start with day 1, day 4, part 1. So highlight it and click Open. I'm going to go back to Add Models again, In Session, add part 2. We'll do all of the parts right here. I believe you can actually highlight 2 and import those at the same time. Maybe not. So let's get 3, 4, and part 5. Okay, so now once we've imported all our parts, you can go ahead and click done/return. Gets us back to our screen. Right off the bat, you do notice that we have the name changed to part 5, which was the last part we imported. Model tree shows part 5. And the way I explain this is you can toggle between parts down here where it says name. So if you double click on it, you'll see it gives you a list of all the things we've imported. So day 4 is the assembly, and then here's the individual parts. If I want to toggle to the assembly, I'll go ahead and click day 4. You'll see the name is changed here. It's changed to the model tree. We'll have some more experience with this as we start putting assemblies in here. Alright, so you have all 5 drawing models imported to the sketch. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create our first view. So we'll warn you, Pro E has some really weird ways of setting up the views, so we might have to actually go back and change some of the views so that they show the way we want to. we'll go through that as we need. So what we're going to do now, since we have the assembly toggled in the model tree, we're going to be dealing with any kind of assembly view. So it's going to show everything together. For the drawing, we're going to right click and hold, and we're going to click General View. Now you'll notice that we could have also clicked General View up to the left, but I used right click and hold, and I'll show you that one more time just to make sure you're familiar with this. We're going to cancel out of this. Right click and hold. Now if you unclick, you can also still be in the window, but it's easier for me. Kind of want to do that right click and hold, and you kind of just drag down what you want, and as soon as you let go, it automatically clicks it for you. So different ways of doing it. There, here, it's up to you. No combined states, you want to keep that. If you want to have it not show this up anymore, just left click this and you don't have to worry about that. Click OK. And now you'll come down and look to the left. This is a very important prompt down here. If you're kind of confused as to what's happening on your drawing, usually it'll tell you what it's looking for. So right now it's looking for a center point for the drawing view. Usually you put one of these views kind of up in the top left. So we're going to click somewhere on the left and left click once. You can see now that it has put the view from the assembly in there. It's kind of backwards, kind of weird, so we're going to have to fix that. But we're going to come off and look here to the right. This drawing view manager basically goes through all of the different options and everything associated with that view. And I'll kind of go through one by one as we're going here to show you how these things work. But right off the bat, view type, right here we're going to have the different possibilities for views. So you can set these in the model. I'll show you how. Right now it has the standard view, but I can, let's say, set the back view. Click apply and you'll see it changes it. You go to the default view, apply. I think the standard view is actually the same, yes. We're going to have to change the default view to maybe a view that actually shows this part on the front. But anyways, you can change the orientation here. We'll go ahead and just leave things as they are. You can change the name of the view as well. Coming down, visible area, we'll go through this. This is going to be how you maybe show part of it. If you don't want to show the entire thing, you want to show the side, you do that from here, and I'll show you how to use this. Scale, this is pretty useful. If you come here and click custom scale, you can change the size of this part. Right now it's set to 1/2 inch, but if I click 0.25 and click enter and apply, you'll notice that it decreases the size of the view. If I put it back to 0.5 and click apply, it'll back to where it was before. Sections, here's where you're going to create cross sections in your part if we need to show something that's hidden in between. If you remember what we did initially in the assembly, creating a section, this is how you do that in the drawing. View status, you won't be too worried about this. This is more of an advanced option. We won't be going through this, but you can always look up more information on the internet. View display, which is important to us actually, because you can see how it has the full color and it basically looks like the model. If you kind of scroll in it, it's all the same. When you print this off on a computer, probably it's going to be black and white, so you don't actually want to look like this. You can go ahead and change this to what would look more familiar as a sketch by coming over to display style right here, left click, and come down. Whole bunch of options here. The standard for drawings is going to be no hidden. Click apply, and now you see it looks more like a drawing view as you would see on a drawing. These other ones, you have origin, setting your location, alignment. I don't really use these too much. So anyways, go ahead and click OK at this. We'll have some more experience with this as we're assembling things into our drawing here. The first thing I want to show you is, let's say we want to move this part. This took me a long time to figure this out. So if you left click and you try to move it, you'll know it doesn't move. It just makes a box and you get really aggravated because you can't move it. What you actually have to do is left click on the view, right click, and just come down to the unassuming lock view movement and click that. You'll notice now that you get the little points and you can move the view where you want. And basically, once you get it in the place you want, if you're worried that someone's going to come and move it after you, you can always right-click again and relock the view movement. I don't even bother, just so I can move things around. But very important, people always forget that. Right-click, unlock view movement. We would be locking now, so but here's the option, that's where it would be. Anyways, let's go back and change the orientation of this view so we get an actual view with the top part of the assembly here. So come over to the left in the model tree. We're going to highlight day 4 assembly. Well, actually, we already have it open. This is how you would open it, but I'm going to come down to the bottom. We already have it open here. And just open up that other window we had. And we're going to go ahead and set this up kind of on an angle view here, something that shows all of our parts, maybe a little bit of the bottom part there. Now we're going to come up to the View tab up here, click View, and we're going to come to Saved Orientations. Click that. Here you can see all of our different orientations. You can click any one of these, it would change the position. We're going to go ahead and use this right here, Reorient. Okay, so we'll be using this in different ways. If you wanted to set the orientation based on the surface, you'd use these options here. In our case, our orientation is kind of arbitrary, so we're going to come down and open the Saved Orientations tab here, and we're going to click on the default orientation. So at this point, go ahead and set this up where we want it, about here, and we're going to click Save. It's going to ask if you want to override the orientation we have. That's fine, and click Yes. Something to note about this process, if you use the standard orientation, you're not actually able to override that one. You can only override the default orientation. So again, what we did was we highlighted the orientation, we found our position we wanted, click Save, and Yes, and click OK. So now if we go back to our drawing and left click once, right click, and come down to Properties right here. We're going to get back to that original window with all of the information there. Let's go ahead and toggle it to Back View, Apply, and now we're going to go back to the default orientation. And you'll notice now that's changed to the appropriate view that we'd like to see here. And click OK. And there's our isometric view right here. You notice it has scale right there. You can click, you should be able to drag this around. It's kind of tricky finding the spot to move it. There we go. And there you go. There's your isometric. Alright, that's simple enough, right? We're going to go ahead and start putting our other views into the model, into the drawing. So what we're going to do is come down here to Name. Like I showed you before, we're going to double click on it, and we're going to activate Part 1. So now you can see Part 1 shows up on the left view here, names as Part 1. And we can go ahead and right click, or alternatively click General View. It's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and right click because that's what I'm used to. We're going to do that somewhere down over here. This would be a good spot to put the first part. Right click and come to General View. It's going to ask for a center point. Click somewhere on the screen. You'll see it process with this window. Normally this is automatically set. I'm sure you can probably set in your settings, but since it's not, we have to every time actually go over to View Status. There's View Display, and set that to No Hidden. Click Apply. Now it looks more like a drawing view, which we want. Go back up to View Type, and let's go ahead and find this view here. It's probably the bottom view. No, alright, so maybe it's the top. There we go. So I went to View Type, I set to Top, I clicked Apply. Now we see our top view here of the part. Let's go ahead and scale this guy. It's kind of big. Set it to 1/2 inch. And click Apply. And there we go. here's our view. Click OK. Now you'll notice it actually does let us move it, which is nice. So it's already selected for us. Let's go ahead and actually move this to the top corner so we have some more space here to work with. So we have our initial view here. Let's go ahead and show you how to make a projection view. So projection view would show the sides or any other portion of this accordingly. So what you can do is left click once, right click, and hold. And you can see you can let go. I'm used to holding it the whole time, but you can let go after you've clicked. And click here, projection view. So we're going to project this off to the right. Find a location, left click. And let's see, do we need the bottom view? No, we're not going to need that one. So we're just going to need these two views to make all of our dimensioning here. Go to that new view you've created, left click it, right click, and come down to properties. Go ahead, go back to view display, and set that to no hidden like the other one, and click apply, and click OK. So now we have our first part here, we have the views we need. Go ahead and left click on that scale, try to move it down somewhere else, maybe the center. And we're going to show you now how to make dimensions on a drawing. Hopefully you've gotten to this point. If you've had a little trouble, you can always pause, go back, get yourself to this point again, and we'll continue from here now. So we've been mainly using this layout tab, and there's a lot of other things here that we haven't gone through yet. We'll get to them eventually here. We're going to go ahead to the Annotation tab here, so it's the third tab over from the left. Click on that. Here's where you're going to spend a lot of your time in drawings. This is where it's going to allow you to make things like a dimension, or if you want to add a note, or anything other. Basically, things that you draw into the drawing, if that makes sense. So when it comes to dimensions, there are two equally correct ways of making dimensions. And I'll go ahead and show you both right now. The first of which is if you come up here to dimension. This is going to be similar to if you've ever done this in SOLIDWORKS. You go ahead and create a dimension. So click that once, and it's going to ask us for a reference. We're referencing an entity, which is fine. We're going to come over and let's start with dimensioning the height of this object. So these 2 points. We're going to click that bottom surface. It's going to ask us, if you look down here on the left, it says to either center click or find a second dimension, or a second entity rather. So go ahead and now click the second entity by holding control. So I'm holding control down now. I go over the surface, you'll see it lights up green. Left click, let go of control, and drag off to the left, and you've got your first dimension. When you're happy with its location, left click once. Center click, now left click. It's a little different with the ones that work, so you have to kind of get used to it. And click cancel. There we go, our first dimension. To show you how that works again, go up to dimension, left click dimension, click our first surface. So we're going to do horizontal distance now. Come over, hold control, click the right surface, let go of control, drag down where you'd like to put the dimension, and center click. And to get out of this, you can either center click again or just click cancel. So here I'm going to center click again, comes out of screen. I have my 2 dimensions. Alright, so we'll go ahead now and show you how to dimension a diameter. Very similar process here. Come up to dimension, left click. Now this time, let's go ahead and start with this inner diameter here. You can do 2 things, and I'll show you both of them. First, if you click it once, drag out somewhere, and center click with the scroll, of course. and center click again, you'll see it's created a radius 1.52. Now, if we wanted this to be a diameter, we'd have to do something a little different. So we're going to go ahead and left click on that dimension, click the delete button to remove it, and we'll go back again in dimension. Now when we come over to click on that surface, I want you to double click. So click twice, and you'll see now it's created a diameter. So place that where you want, and center click again. You'll notice I made this 3.03. I did this for clearance purposes with that center pin that goes through it. So from here, if you left click, you can move it anywhere you want. Something you can do if you don't like the arrows the way they are there, you can left click, right click. You can flip arrows right here. So I just right click on the option flipped arrows and let you flip it to the outside, or if you left click, right click again, flip arrows, it'll keep changing, and you can kind of toggle through the different directions. You'll find those useful, and in the industry you'll understand when you'd use certain ones. So you have a dimension there. At this point, just to kind of so you don't forget the process, we're going to go ahead and now show the second way of making dimensions. So the first way is use the dimension, which is totally okay. It's totally fine. It works. It'll change as you change your model. The second way is the show model annotations. So with this one, if you left click that, you're prompted with this screen here, and as you toggle through the tabs, it's going to show different options in your view. So to show what I'm talking about, if we're in the first one where it says show model dimensions, I come up to the left. It's very important that you actually click on the view and not an individual part. So you see it highlights the extrude or extrude. Here I actually want to click the view. And now you'll see it actually shows all of the dimensions we had originally created for this part. So we'll go ahead and let's say we wanted to, if we scroll in here, that 1/2 inch diameter. So that's the diameter of that inner hole. All we do is we come over and left click it. You'll see it turns blue, and also you'll see the check mark in the list here. There's a long list. It's the check mark. If we click apply and cancel, you'll see it's added the dimension here. So I can left click on that dimension, I can drag it out. And here's a case where you want to right click and flip arrows, so it's a little more clear, and you have your dimension. So we'll go ahead and try that again on this other view just to show you how that works. So show model annotations, we're in dimensions, click on the outside part of the view, remember not the features. Get all our dimensions here, and we could select any of them. So we're going to want the thickness of this part probably in this view, so we get the 5 inches. It's highlighted. Click apply and cancel, and now you see we have our dimension here in this view here. Alright, so we'll go ahead and continue dimensioning some of this. First, we're going to need to show these radii here. So if you kind of drag this guy off to the left, and we'll go ahead and just continue to use the dimension button. It's a little easier. And click on the edge, left click, got your radius, come off to the right, there. And center click again, now you have your radius. And let's see what else do we need here. That should about cover all of our dimensions on this. We're going to go ahead now, and I'm going to show you how to add things to the dimension. So with this radius, we have 4 of them. Now we could go and dimension it off 4 corners, but instead what you can actually do is if you come up to that radius, left click, right click, properties, you'll see the dimension properties. Here you're showing everything that has to do with this dimension. We'll go ahead and start on this page and work our way over. So first you have the name of the dimension. You'll notice it says add 35. Added dimensions are ones that created in the drawing. If you had, let's say, left clicked on a dimension like the 5, it would show an actual D some number, and then it's going to show that it's a dimension from the part itself. And if you have enough time, I'll show you why that's significant. So first thing to look at is this decimal right here. So I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. We can go ahead and change the number of decimals on that number. Let's say we want to set to a 3-place decimal. You click 3 plus enter, and you see now it's changed to 1.000. Want to go back, just press 2 and enter. Alright, you can override the value. I wouldn't advise doing that. There are situations when you need to override things, but we won't get into that. I just want to give you the basics here. Coming down, normally this is activated. Not exactly sure why it isn't here, but if you can figure out how to activate it, this is where you set your actual tolerances, the plus minus tolerances. At Lockheed, it lets you set these. I guess it's somewhere in the properties somewhere that will let you change it. You would be able to change the tolerance modes and everything, but since we don't have that capability with the home one, we might not be able to show you that today. So just keep that in mind. This is where you change the tolerances here. If you come up to the display tab, now here's where you can actually add things to the dimension. So you can see we have prefix at D is the dimension itself. So let's say I want to add a 4x right here in front per the ANSI standards. What I can do is go to the prefix, go to the left of that R, make a space, and click 4, capital X. And once you do that, click OK, and you'll now see it has 4x, or 4 radii on the edges, which is great. So now to show you more on what we can do with that, we'll go ahead and work on this dimension here. Now you notice I dimensioned the diameter of the hole, but I also have to counterbore a hole. So there's a few different ways of doing this. I'll go ahead and left click, right click, properties. Go ahead and leave the decimal where it is, won't mess with that. Come over to dimension. Now here, if we come over to the right side now in this box, this is basically showing kind of what shows up here. So the prefix is that symbol, the diametrical symbol. If we come here, click enter to the next line, we can come down to text symbols right here. Left click on that, and here's all your symbols you see in a drawing. Things like runout, statistical tolerances, profile, circles, cylindricity, all these different things. We're going to go ahead and use this symbol right here. This is the counterbore symbol. And click close, and you'll now notice it shows up right there. So what you do, just put a space in there. I believe we made this 1.85. And we'll go back to text symbols again. We're going to add a depth symbol right here. Close. And put the dimension at 0.50. And you'll notice it kind of adds things as we're going here. So once you've added those, again, to show you what I did there, we were typing, I went to text symbols. You have the counterbore symbol here, our depth symbol here. I put those in there, I click close. You can see now it says 0.85, drill to depth of 0.50. We'll actually go ahead up next to the ND. So next to the D, leave a space and put a through, which is THRU, by the way. It's not spelled the way you would think. This is the way we do it in engineering, so this is the way you should always do it, I think. And once you've done that, click OK. So now, what you're seeing here is a 1/2-inch hole cut through the part, or actually, excuse me, I just remembered that this was not through this, it's actually an inch deep. So I actually have to go back and left click, right click, go to properties, display. Let's go ahead and remove the word through and come over to our text symbols again and give it a depth of 1 inch. So 1.00, close, and click OK. There we go. So half-inch hole to 1 inch depth with a 85.85 inch counterbore to a half-inch depth. Exactly what we have in the drawing. Perfect. So on this one, again, we're going to have a counterbore hole. I'll go ahead and take it back to the assembly so you can see that. So what we can do here is activate that part, and so I clicked on it once, left click, right click, activate. You can see here's our counterbore hole, pretty big counterbore, but the counterbore nonetheless. So we'll go ahead back to the drawing. Now I know some of this is kind of advanced, so if you're not interested in this, or maybe it doesn't apply to you, you can go ahead and kind of move forward in the video. But there is a second way of putting these other dimensions in here. And I'm going to go ahead and show this to you right now. So this one, it's going to be a 303 hole with some kind of counterbore in it. Now, I could left click, right click, go to properties, and display and type those in, but what you find is actually if I change the size of, let's say, the counterbore, so if I set the counterbore as the text symbol, you don't have to do this, I'm just showing you kind of what it look like. Counterbore of 3.00. Well, if I were to change that counterbore in the model, this wouldn't update, which is kind of annoying. So if you delete it, click OK. And here's a pretty advanced concept here, but we're going to go ahead and actually reference the dimension on the counterbore for this dimension. So we're going to do exactly what you see here, except we're going to reference it. So it's actually going to show up and it's going to change, and I'll show you exactly what I mean here. So let's go ahead to the assembly again. We're going to go ahead and open just the part. So left click on the part. Once you get it, right click, and this time we're going to open it. We could also activate it, but we're just going to go ahead and open it to make it easier. And what we're going to do from here, if you remember before, if we wanted to modify one of these parts, we would right click on the feature. So this feature, you'd be able to find it by clicking through, or alternatively, you can actually click on the feature itself. So you can see it's Extrude 2. And if we were to right click on this, if you remember, here's where we'd modify it, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we can go ahead over to, now there's usually properties in here which I don't see, so it's going to take a second here to figure this out. Bear with me. Might be under parameters. No. There we go. Okay. This is exactly what we're looking for here. It's a little different long keyed, but not a big deal. Left click on the extrude. So we're highlighting our counterbore hole here. Right click, come all the way down to information. And we're going to go over to feature information. So I'll go ahead and close this. Show you one more time. We have from the beginning, click our feature. It's highlighted in the tree. Right click, come down to information, feature information. Alright, so what we're looking at here is basically all the stuff needed to create the drawing. What's important to us is actually be all the way down at the bottom. Here we go. So we'll have two things here. We have dimension ID 3 and dimension ID 4. We're going to need both of these. Dimension ID 4 is the diameter of that hole, so it's a 7-inch diameter hole, and dimension 3 means it's a 3-inch deep hole. Basically, when you created that model, you put a dimension on these things. They save them here as a dimension. So what we're going to do is we're going to remember D3 and remember D4, and we're going to go over to our drawing. So go ahead and close this window. come back to the drawing, and we're going to right click on that dimension there in the center, right click and hold, click properties like we did before. Now here's where it comes different. When we go to display, we're going to come over to our center to go to the next line. We're going to go ahead and put that symbol in there, that counterbore symbol. Click close. Now instead of typing 7, what we're going to do is something different. We're going to put, and hopefully I have it right here, it should be and. We're going to make sure it's a lowercase d. And now we're going to put the number we want. So the whole diameter should be 4. So I put and D4 and click OK. And look at that. We have our dimension right there, 7.03. Now, left click again. Let's go back to properties. You could have done this all at one time. I want to show you what it looks like. Go to dimension. We're going to come to the left of that, or excuse me, right of that text symbol. Let's go ahead and give us our depth symbol there. Click close. Now we're going to type this time and D3. And once we do that, click OK. And now you'll see that it's given us exactly the same thing as before, except with one difference. And let me go ahead and show that to you. Now, let's say that our counterbore depth, I wanted that to be 3.5. So, go ahead back to that part, click on the feature, try and left click, sometimes it takes a bit to get to it. So you highlight Extrude 2, right click, and we're going to go ahead and edit definition. Come up here, now we're going to adjust this. So this is the counterbore depth. We have it set to 3. Let's say I want to set this to 3.5. So change the dimension up here on the left, 3.5. Left click somewhere off on the screen so it changes it, and click the check mark. So let's go ahead back to the drawing, and you'll notice it's automatically changed to 3.5. So what you're looking at here is something called the dimension being parametric. It means that the dimension in the drawing is being driven by the dimension in the part. Very important here. If I were to change this counterbore depth, this would always be the same because I typed that number, and I got, if I left click on here, left click, right click, properties, go to display, you'll see I typed the numbers. But on the second dimension, if I left click, right click, properties, display, I put the and D and the number of the dimension. So it's actually going to always link to it. We'll go ahead and change it back to 3.5 since that's where we were originally. So we can actually just come over to Extrude 2, right click, edit definition, and change that to 3.0 like we had before. Left click on the screen and click check. So pretty nifty here. So of course, as you expect, I'd go back and look at the drawing. It's changed its way back to 3. Which is fabulous. This is exactly what we want. It'll help you with your drawings. It'll help you get things past, we call it check. This is where we have a checker look through this stuff. They're going to look for this. They're going to want to make sure that you're actually parametrically dimensioning it. And just to remind you how we did that, we just had the dimension which came from the part itself. So you have Extrude 2, and we right-clicked on it, information, feature information, and we used this dimension here. So pretty useful. I think solvers will automatically do it, but Creo you kind of have to set it. So go ahead and come back to our assembly here. We are fully defined on this part, which is great. Let's go ahead and we're going to move along a little quicker here. I think we've been going for some time here, so we're going to go ahead and put one of the other views in there. And maybe, I'll let you finish the other ones on your own, just so you have practice, and I'll put the drawing up there so you can see what it looks like. Let's go ahead and toggle between part 1 to part 2. So all I did was double clicked on name, got part 2. Part 2 is shown here. Come in the view on the page, right click and hold, and click insert child view. It's going to ask us for a center. I'm going to ahead and use this bottom left and center click. Like before, here's our different orientations. We're going to try and get this from the top side, so let's try maybe top. Sometimes if I mold it right, looks like it's going to be bottom here. We're going to leave above. Alright, we're going to have to go ahead and check that out. Let's go ahead and just change the view display while we're at it. So view display, set that to no hidden, click apply. Now there, actually you got it on the right side. So you wouldn't really be able to tell with it when it was set to shading with edges, but once you head to no hidden and you actually get the drawing view, you'll see that we actually had it the right way the whole time. So once we're happy with everything, go ahead and click OK. So with this one, let's go ahead, click on the view, right click, and oops, sorry there, left click, right click, insert a projection. Let's project this off to the right. That'll give us a view that we need there. Go ahead and left click on that view, properties. You can probably guess where I'm going here to display. I'll change it to no hidden again. Apply, OK. Let's go ahead and dimension this part now. The way I would do it is dimension these separately, and you probably could give it an isometric view as well if you wanted to. We won't worry about that. Go to show annotations, left click, and come over to our view here. Click on it, and you can see the only two dimensions we have are the diameters. So click on those diameters, they'll turn blue. And go ahead and click apply and close. There you go. Here's the dimensions. You can drag those wherever you'd like. Something nice here too, if you see a lot of drawings with the crosshairs on them. So to add the crosshairs, go ahead and click that view again. Right click, come down to properties. Oh, sorry, wrong process here. Getting a little tired. Click show model annotations. Go ahead to that view. And now we're going to go over to this last one on the right. So basically went from dimensions over to, I'm not sure what they call it here, model datums. And we'll have our crosshairs, so we can either click them on the view, or you can just click axis 1, apply, close. There you go. Pretty useful here if you wanted to dimension. Let's say we had a feature of a hole somewhere out here, you dimension it from the datum. Pretty nice little thing there. Let's go over to the right. Let's give our distances. We could say, counterbore, or I guess we cut or somewhere way here, but the easiest way is just to dimension this part here. So if we come to show annotations again, and we're going to show annotations in this part, you're going to have to toggle back to show dimensions, and go ahead and get those guys in there. Click apply, and you'll notice too you can drag these around, so if you want them to line up with each other, just drag it up to the top, and you'll see it kind of clicks into position. And there you go. Something else here which is pretty useful, you notice that our blue line kind of extends all the way to the part. If you want to show up really like a nice engineering drawing, you really want to make your checker happy with you, left click, we're going to come down here. So all I did was left click on the line, come down to the bottom where it has that little black square, drag that guy up to just outside of the part, and do that for all three of these. You can tell I've done this a lot. It takes a lot of experience to kind of get familiar with the process and be able to do this stuff quickly, so don't worry if you don't get it right away. Go ahead and move that last one up as well. And there you go. That's really how you want to dimension. Nice and clean. Not that I guess I'm pretty much an expert. I'm pretty good at this kind of stuff. You can move these other ones out a little bit too. Yeah, you'll end up getting some kind of like OCD type stuff when it comes to making drawings. Make sure all these lines are perfect. And there you go. We've dimensioned our first views there. So let's go ahead. We're going to need a new sheet for this drawing now. So come down to the bottom where you see sheet to the left. It's kind of like Excel. Click on new sheet. Now you've got sheet 2, and you can toggle between the two sheets. That's pretty useful as well. So while we're here, let me go ahead and show you how to make a section view. And I'm thinking this is going to be our easiest part here to do that section view on, because it'll actually show some meaningful information. You'll see why you do it. So if you were to need to make a section view, which I really don't think you need to, but for the sake of demonstration, we'll go and do it. We want to make a section view here. We're going to have to do two things. First, we're going to have to go back to the drawing and set one of those sections again. And then second, we'll have it show here. So I'll give you the process. Come down to the drawing, or excuse me, that part we had originally here. We're going to have to find that view actually, so maybe go back to the drawing. Let's figure out what this thing actually is. So all I did was left click, right click, drawing view, and we'll see here it's the right view. And the reason I say that is it's kind of symmetrical, so it'd be kind of hard to understand which way is which. So knowing that it's a right view, what I can do is I can come back into the part and set that view to right. So now I know that this should be the view that we're coming off for that section. So you know this is what's showing up top. It actually looks like this on the part in the sketch there. So back in here, we're going to go ahead now, like we did before, come up here to view, click view, and let's go ahead and create a section through this thing. First, we're going to have to know exactly where center is on this, so go back to the drawing real quick. We'll see it looks like 10 inches, so 5 inches will be our section. Go ahead to the left here, or see on top, Cliq Section. We're going to come off to the side. Remember, this is what it looks like in our view, so we're going to want to come off of that surface that we're looking at. And this time, instead of just dragging it to an arbitrary position, we're actually going to choose a position. So you can come here, so right next to the arrow, or up in that left-hand corner, and change that guy to 5. Click enter. There you go. Now you've got your appropriate view going there, and click the check mark. Now you'll notice we have a section here. To deactivate the section, just right click and click deactivate. We can also name this. This is X section 001. If you right click on it, you can rename and just call it, let's say, A. So now that we have our section, you can see section A. I can activate if I want to, or I can deactivate it. Go back to our drawing here. Alright, let's go to that view now, right here on the top right. Left click, right click, properties. Alright, now we're going to go over here to sections, and we're going to add a section. So now you see it says no section. We're going to go ahead and select a 2D cross section. Once you've done that, you want to hit the plus sign. You can see now it's highlighted the A with a check mark. If we had other sections, we'd also see those. What's important here is you see a check mark, meaning it's appropriate and it's in the right orientation, which is good. So 2D cross section, add section, name, and I'll show you 2 different ways you can make a section. The first and the easiest way is under section, and you can kind of drag this out so you see what it says, section area. If it's set to full, and I click apply, you'll see I have a full section, so it shows the entire thing. You have these cross hatches indicating the solid portions with your cut. There's another thing you can do as well. If you come to section area, click that down. We can click on half, which you'd have to have a plane to select that one. Since we don't have a plane, we'll use that. What I often use is local. So with local, if I drag this guy all the way out, we're going to have different options here. the way this works is first it's going to ask for a reference, then it's going to ask for the boundary of that section, and arrow display that'll show the arrows on the original view to show you where it came from. So it goes in order from left to right. So first we have reference. It wants a reference. We're going to have to choose a point somewhere in this drawing, hypothetically right in the center. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say I only want to see this top portion, and then everything else I want to be solid. So what I'll do is click somewhere in the middle of that top portion, left click once. You'll see now it says boundary, so it's asking for a boundary. It's going to ask us to sketch a spline. Now listen very carefully here, make sure you get this right. You can start the spline anywhere, so I'm going to start off here on the right. Left click once, and as we start clicking, left clicking, you'll notice it starts to create that spline. So all I'm doing is I'm moving over, left clicking, I'm just kind of making a shape here, roughly around what I want. So just keep on left clicking until you get close. Once you get close to it, so let's say right here, instead of continuing to left click, what you want to do is center click once. And now you've seen the spline has been defined. Here's my spline. And click apply. And now you'll notice it only shows the top area, which is quite useful. Again, we're going to show you that one more time from the beginning. So what we're going to do to move this, let's say we don't want to see the spline here. Click under section options, no section. Well, actually, sorry, go to 2D. We're going to remove the section first. So 2D, remove section, then click no section and apply. So back here at square one, we're going to use 2D cross section, press the plus arrow, we have A. We're going to go ahead and set this to a local section. Our reference, so you can see it kind of highlights things in there, reference is somewhere around here, I think. And start sketching that spline. Now it's kind of like an artwork here, trying to get the spline to actually do what you want it to do. So don't worry. Once you get close, center click. Once you're happy with what you see, click apply. There you go. Now it's back again. And go ahead and click OK. Now you can go ahead and appreciate what you're looking at. It kind of gives you this little squiggly line. I like to make sure it's kind of a squiggly line to make sure it's clear that it's actually a section. And you'll also notice it now says section AA. So you usually drag this guy down below the dimension. It's a little annoying here with this version here. Okay, yeah, that's fine where it is. Okay, so you have section, and that's because I called it A in the part. What I can do now is if I left click, right click, let's go to properties again, under sections. If I come all the way over to the left now, that one left I have is arrow display here. What I can do is if I left click it and click on my view and click apply, it'll actually show me the cross section arrow. So this is the way you're going to see it on engineering drawing. References, sorry, not references, but arrow display, and you clicked on the view, click OK. Here's what your engineering drawing is really going to look like. Usually, maybe drag this off to the left a little bit. There you go. So now you're seeing a section. It's a partial section through A, and there you go. If you want to show something in there, I will go through the other parts. I will say you can go ahead and change a lot of things like this cross hatching, change the direction, the density, a whole bunch of other things on there. Now that you get a basic idea, let's go ahead to sheet 2. Let's do one more part to make sure you really got it here. Go ahead and change name. Let's go ahead and do part 3. And so we have part 3 selected. Right click and hold. General view. And left click. This is just a washer. This is going to be pretty easy. So you can choose front. Oh, of course, maybe it must be bottom then. There we go, bottom. Go to view status. So view display, excuse me, I always get these confused. And go ahead and apply. Let's scale it to, we have everything else at 0.5. and click apply. There's our washer. Left click, right click, and we'll go ahead and add a projection view off to the left, show our thickness. We're going to have to go in again and change the view status. Kind of annoying every time having to do this kind of stuff, but you know, that's what you need to do. No hidden again, apply, okay. And we'll go ahead and dimension this guy, show those annotations. So I'm going to come over and let's go ahead and show those two there, click apply. While we're still in the window, let's come over to the right and let's grab the thickness here and apply. There we go. And go ahead and drag those arrows up so that they're in the appropriate locations. And let's not have these overlap. And not to forget, under properties, model annotations, go ahead and add those cross hatches, cross hairs, sorry. Right here, you have your axis, creates it, click OK, apply. And there's part 3. I think I can leave part 4 and part 5 to you guys and let you get those for practice. I'll finish off this drawing here for you and I'll put it with the file so you have it. So I gave you a lot of information here. Hopefully it'll help you be able to make these drawings. It's certainly not everything. There's more to it. And actually, one more thing as well. You notice it has like scale and it has the words there. Well, if you want to add a note, you can actually click here and click note and place that anywhere you want. So let's say here. A lot of time on a drawing view like that, you put in a scale. Colon none. Just part of the way you do it. Click enter. Never mind, just click off to the left. And there you go. You can have a note there. Some other stuff you can do with notes. I guess it's some kind of format thing. Just left click out of that. You can do notes that attach to different parts. So let's say I wanted to make a note on this part here. I can go ahead to note and leader note right here. So note, leader note. And this time it's going to actually ask for a position. So I can grab one of the corners, or I can even grab the surface. Click once, drag off, and we can call this, sorry there. Let's go ahead and try that again. So note, see it's already selected, but it's a leader note. Click our surface, come off to the side, and we're going to center click. There we go, and now we can say like, part 1. There you go. Pretty useful. A lot of drawings will see general notes down here at the bottom. That's basically one huge note. So if you want to go back to unattached notes and you put this down here, then you can start typing general notes. And you enter down and you have your first node and your second node and your third node. So those all be down here. That's pretty nice. What else we have for you? While we're looking at notes, if you've ever seen the bubble notes, instead of having part 1 here, of course you can always left click and delete that. You go ahead to Annotations and Balloon Notes. You can create balloon notes. So here's different options. No leader basically means it's going to be floating in space without a leader. We're going to go ahead and click leader and make note. Same idea. Click the surface you want, come off, center click, and this can be one, right, enter twice, and once you hear you press done. And then you have your part numbers, and you can start using part numbers on here. Lots and lots of things you can do here. Coming up on an hour and 30 minutes. I don't want to go too long, so I'll go ahead and drop it off here. The best thing you can do is really go through and start playing with all of these options. There's so much more. I mean, we could do like 3 or 4 hours of this stuff, I'm telling you. So if you go under Sketch here, a lot of you can actually sketch on the drawings if you want to sketch like some kind of dot line to separate something. Come to line and just kind of put a line on the surface of the drawing. Come off the center, click, and now you've got your line. Maybe separate parts and create circles, splines. Here's that hatch I was telling you about, changing the cross hatch over there. All these different options. Under analysis, you can measure a part. Here, view. There's so much here. I'm only scratching the surface. I really am. So we're going to go ahead and drop off here. For real this time, I don't really drop it off here. And I'll finish up the second part of the sketch so you have it. Take a look at it. If you have any questions at all, definitely you can always send me a message. Any questions about the first 4 videos, or if you had, maybe running into some kind of trouble or something, I'm always available to answer your questions. Assuming this video stays on here more than a year from now, I won't be around, but my email, I'm sure, will still be active. So if you wanted to send anything to me, you can always go to our website, AIAAUCF.com. Under contact, you'll see if I'm not currently the president, I would probably just send it to the general email. Somebody can answer it there. Or you could even send it to my personal email, and maybe I'll go ahead and put that information on the page for you. Something else that's really nice, if you go to the internet, you can always search for, Creo, and I'm sure you'll get a whole bunch of information. It looks like I'm not connected to the internet here. You can go ahead in and find some information from PTC directly here, or usually there's a whole bunch of videos and other things out there. A lot of these videos, I watch a lot of them from YouTube. They'll help you out a lot. So that about covers it. Hopefully we covered everything that we worked for here. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video, and I can promise you that taking the effort to learn Creo will absolutely help you in industry. It'll help you get a job. Hopefully they'll bring this back one day at UCF. It was kind of a shame that they got rid of it. So hopefully this video helps. If you need any questions or anything, you can go ahead and ask at UCF. I'm sure we have an officer. If not, I'll go ahead and put my contact information on the Creo page. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and if you need help in the future, let me know. Thank you.